Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayh. Wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam tabaraka wa sallama tasliman kasiran kasira amma ba'd. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa man ahsanu qawlan mimman da'a ila Allah wa amila salihan wa qala innani minal muslimin. My dear brothers and respected elders and sisters, there is no one who knows the truth except Allah. So if we want to know the truth, we must read the book of Allah, and that is the Quran. And Allah has also given books of Allah to the Prophet prior to Muhammad sallam, which is to Musa, Taurat, and to Isa, Injil, and to Daud, some. These are all the books of Allah. They contain the words of Allah and they contain the truth. Many people do not read the Quran, do not want to read the Quran. Not the non-Muslim, but almost the so-called Muslim, the whole world, which maybe now it's around 2 billion, are not reading the Quran. They are following their life not in accordance to the Quran. They don't know. They don't even to know what's the truth. They simply follow what being told by his father, mother, or the religious teacher. So they are not obeying what Allah told them in the Quran. They are following the religion of the religious scholar. And the religious scholar won't be able to tell you everything. And if they themselves do not understand the Quran, they will certainly not be telling you the correct thing. So as a result of following the religion of the so-called scholars, the present day Muslims are not, the present day so-called Muslims are not actually embracing the religion of truth. When they are not embracing the true religion of Islam as mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, so certainly they have portrayed a wrong impression of the religion of Islam, and Islam become the misunderstood religion. From a very nice religion become a religion of the terrorists. So these are the fault of the so-called Muslims all over the world, for not trying to read the Quran and to practice what are mentioned in the Quran. So there's none to be blamed about this, because there is no books which are written in English about the interpretation of the Quran. There's none. So how do they know? The so-called scholars are not interested or are not able to do it. The interpretation of the Quran, the tafseer of the Quran in English, they're able to do it probably. So people are just reading the Arabic one or reading the translation of it. And to read the Quran, only the translation of the Quran, you cannot understand the Quran that easy. It has to be tafseer and written in a language able to be understood by almost everyone. If you read the translation of the Quran in English or in Malay, do you understand it? You don't, yeah. So the whole entire so-called Muslim in the whole world are not able to read because this the correct tafsir of the Quran in the language which they understand are not written. For that very reason, I'm not a scholar. So I'm an optometrist. I'm a professor in optometry. But I have the great desire because I know that is the greatest, greatest mistake that we have done all this while are not providing the correct interpretation of the Quran in English to the entire mankind. For that very reason, even though I'm not an Islamic scholar, I do not know Arabic, and yet I embark on it because I know Allah will help me. Everyone is skeptical, and of course they were saying that I'm doing nothing but trying to do something which is not good. When a person doesn't have the ability to make the tafsir and yet he go on doing the tafsir, naturally the tafsir which he has made will be wrong. So they look at me, as a person who is going to destroy Islam. But I do not listen to what they say. I do not listen to what people think. I go on making the tafsir. And when I started it, no one believed. No one, not even the people around me, are having the belief that I will ever complete it. I may stop halfway, or I may become a person who are mad or something, sick. As many who's trying to write something about Quran when they don't know how to write it, finally they become mental, no? So they can't do it. But now days have gone by. The tafsir has been completed. It takes about 9-8 years. It's available to the whole entire mankind. Can easily be obtained in Google Play or Amazon.com. Now, the problem is another one. The problem is to be able to read it, to understand it, and to obey it. But that the problem become less than before. Before, they don't even have the book, the tafsir, in the language which they will be able to understand, which is English. So now the tafsirs are available. The only problem is for them to read it. But when I've done it, I'm not to be blamed for not telling the truth to the whole mankind. I know the truth. Allah told me, Allah teach me, so I must convey the truth to the whole entire mankind. If otherwise, if I don't, Allah naturally will be sinful. So the Quran is the words of truth, nothing but the truth. Every single words of the Quran. So we have to make the not only the so-called Muslim, but the whole entire mankind in the whole world to be ready to read the Quran. If they don't, then that is their problem. They are to be blamed for not following the truth. Previously, we can't blame them because there's none of the tafseer being written and being able to be read by everyone and understood by everyone. But now, they don't have any reason to tell Allah that I do not know. Allah says, is that tafsir done by Prof Nasoha? You don't read it? You simply read other things, other books, other journals, other magazines. You don't read Quran? Then everyone will be taken to task. So my dear brothers and respected elders, the truth is from the book of Allah. It is so prime important to read the books, to understand it, and to practice it. So Jibril alayhi salam told Nabi Sassam, there will be a lot of fitnah towards the end of the world. So Rasul said, what is the way out? The way out of the fitnah is the book of Allah, the Quran. They don't say the way out to the fitnah is salat or a lot of fasting, a lot of zikr. No. The way out of the fitnah, which will come in abundance towards the end of the world, is the Quran. But on the other hand, the so-called Muslims are preparing for the coming of Mahdi. To be with Mahdi means to be safe from the fitnah. So they are not following the Prophet ﷺ. To protect yourself from the fitnah that's coming in abundance at the end of the world, you have to follow the Quran. But Allah has made it available now. It is your responsibility to read it, to understand it, to obey it. You cannot blame anyone else except yourself if you are not willing to read it, to practice it, to understand it, and to practice it. You know? So the Quran is the word of Allah, and it is the word of the truth. Many things which are mentioned in the previous book of Allah, Taurat and Injil, and some are also mentioned in the Quran. And the Quran has more than that, more than what has been mentioned in the previous book of Allah. So, since the previous book of Allah have been distorted or being made to, are distorted by the scholars of the Jews and the Christians, so it is better, it's wiser if even the Christians, the Jews are reading only the Quran. Only you can also read the Taurat and the Injil, but it's better if you can read the Quran, because the Quran will contain everything of the truth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the Quran to be the last book of Allah. As we can understand it, that there are books of Allah, but there are many editions of the book, and the last edition of the book is Quran. So my dear brothers, we have to make the effort to make everyone in this whole world to obey the orders of Allah. Only when they are able to obey the orders of Allah in the way which Allah loves, with the intention to please Allah, only then they will become successful. They will not become successful if they only, read the Quran, not able to understand it, not able to practice it, only reading it. The Quran is not meant to be read only, to be understood and to be practiced. So, we must make Quran to be read and studied in every schools, in the whole world. We cannot avoid reading the Quran. But now, Quran is not being read. not being studied, being left to each and everyone to make the choice, either to read it or not. So many people are making the choice of not reading it at all. So when the book has been revealed by Almighty Allah to us, so we should regard it as a great blessing. We should regard it as a very great reward which Allah has given to us, which is the book of guidance. And we should, if we are in the correct frame of mind, we should make everyone in the whole world to learn the Quran. And there should be a subjects in every school in the whole world. They must study the Quran. If not all of it, some of it at school, which no one is learning the Quran at our schools. Nowadays there is no schools, not even the so-called Muslim schools, the so-called Muslim school are teaching Quran. If you want to learn the Quran, you have to go to madrasah. Then only you know what's Quran is. And then he is the one who will teach the people about the Quran, and he don't understand everything. So the Quran should be taught in every schools in the whole world. Then only we are heading towards making the whole world, to be a place of peace, tranquility, without any war. Then only we will be able to have a community, a world community of peace and love. Peace and love will not come simply with any actions that we do. Peace and love will come when we obey the orders of Allah. If we obey the orders of Allah, the outcome of that is peace and tranquility. All the while, from the time of Adam till today, we have no peace. We often have wars, fighting between each country, between each clans. From time to time, we always have war. Currently, about the Ukraine and the Russia and the NATO. Before this, between China and India. They very wars. So men are not knowing what they have to do in order to become successful is to obey his Lord. The Lord who has created them knows as to how to make ourselves to live in this world with peace and tranquility. No one else knows. So he told that in the Quran. He told in the Quran, and we must read the Quran. It must become a subject in every school. For the so-called Muslim, they must learn how to read the Quran during the primary school. They must learn to pray. They must learn how to do the work of dawah while they're still in primary school. They must be able to do that. And when they go to secondary school, they must learn the book of Allah, the meaning of it, the interpretation of it, and they must try to obey all that. They may read and studied it some at school and studied it by himself at home. And to continue reading it, studying it till he died. This is the fundamental book which has been disgusted, which has been thrown out to the sideline. Quran is not being read by anyone, not even the so-called Muslim, but more the non-Muslim. The non-Muslim must read the Quran too, because that book is meant for them too. They must understand what His God want them to obey, to do. If only they want peace, happiness in this world as well as in the hereafter. So we, the so-called Muslim, must have the real desire for the entire mankind to become successful. We must have the real desire to make everyone, to obey the orders of Allah. We must love them. If we are not doing anything to propagate the reading of the Quran, the understanding of the Quran, to propagate the whole entire mankind to be able to understand the Quran, it means we are not having love and kindness towards them. We ourselves, as a so-called Muslim, we follow them. In the sense, they want the worldly things, we too want the worldly things. We say, oh, they are very rich, we should become rich too. The non-Muslim countries are very rich, so we should become like them too. That's all. We compare ourselves and regard ourselves as poor or unsuccessful if we are not able to become a rich country like them. We should be thinking and worrying that everyone in the whole world should embrace the religion of Islam. They should recite the great kalima. It's not because we want more Muslim in this whole world, but we want everyone in this whole world to become successful. The work of da'wah should become the work of every one of the so-called Muslims. They should be made to do the work of da'wah, because the work of da'wah is to the work of inviting them to embrace the religion of the truth. Now the so-called Muslims in all over the world are not doing the work of da'wah at all. They are only doing ibadah. Yeah? That's why people are not embracing Islam. The work of da'wah has been buried. The Muslim, the so-called Muslim, have been told, if there is only one Muslim doing the work of da'wah to the non-Muslim, one person in the whole world, of the 7 billion people, only one Muslim are doing the work to invite the non-Muslim to Islam, the duty has been fulfilled. What a cracks. This has been told by Imam Ghazali, being learned by all the so-called scholars and being preached. So the whole Muslim, so-called Muslim, what a crime and what a tragedy. It's a great tragedy. They used to say that the Rasuls are the people who do da'wah. The Nabi only keeping the orders of Allah which Allah has mentioned to him to himself. And other than that, no da'wah. This has been the understanding of the so-called Muslim in all over the world. And this is so bad and so incorrect. But none has ever able to tell the whole Muslim that this is wrong except me. There is no one, this is the reason why we are becoming so backward. We are becoming so far away. We ourselves do not know what is in the Quran. Neither we nor the non-Muslim are able to know. So everyone in this whole world are just following their whims and fancies. What book of guidance are they following if they don't read the Quran? They are not having any books of guidance other than the Quran. If they don't even read the Quran, then what they'll be reading? They are not reading anything. They are only reading newspapers. which the Indonesian call it also as Quran. So people are not able to understand how merciful, compassionate Allah is. He's so merciful and so compassionate. He wants the entire mankind to be successful. He sent the revealed book, the Quran, to us, and yet we ignored the blessing of Allah. We are to be blamed. Just come to the thinking. Why we are not responding to His love and compassion when He wants us to become successful? We are created because He wants us to become successful. We are not created because He wants us to be people who are destroyed, but to be a person who are successful. For that reason He sent prophets of Allah and He sent the book of Allah, and it is our responsibility to accept whatever He has given to us wholeheartedly and to follow it wholeheartedly. Then only we will be saved. If we don't follow the Quran, we are not doing any good to it. We are doing any good but harm only. We are not doing good to us, but we are doing harm. If we do not want to understand the Quran, we are doing harm to ourselves. Understand? Like Sufyan, he's not reading the Quran. He's not doing good to himself. He's doing harm to himself. So Allah is the knower, the doer, and He is our Lord. He wants us to become successful. He wants us to live in this world with peace and tranquility, and in the hereafter He wants us to enter the paradise. He's so loving. Allah is so lovable, compassionate and merciful. How can we, reject the Lord who is most merciful and compassionate to us by ignoring the books of guidance which has revealed to us? So I'm solemnly asking you to read the Quran, to read the interpretation of the Quran which I have written and can be made available in Amazon.com and Google Play. I'm doing it only to please Allah. I'm doing it only to make the entire mankind to become successful as Allah has wished the entire mankind to become. Okay.